All right, welcome to the first episode of The Inside Game. I'm your host, John James, and I'm super excited to get this started. There's going to be a whole lot of new content, whole lot of guests that you guys wouldn't even expect. It's a lot of big things coming. A lot of people have been telling me to get into the podcast space, so this is what I'm going to start doing. This video is sponsored by Sleeper Picks. This is the fancy sports app that I use to make my picks every day. I have a Discord link in my Instagram bio as well. Over 200 members. Thank you to everybody that's been supporting that as well. It's been going crazy lately. A lot more traction than I thought it would. But that's what happens, of just being consistent and trying to get the content out. Hopefully you get a certain audience that appreciates your stuff. This episode is to really talk about the whole introduction of why I wanted to get into this type of stuff. When COVID happened, obviously there was less to do outside of your home. So the podcast space blew up, and I remember this podcast that I watched. It was two YouTubers called Deshay and Dub. They were talking to each other across the table, but they were really just having regular conversations. The stuff was just so engaging that people listened to it. And so that's where I first got podcast inspiration from. I just never really got the equipment to start it. And I was finishing school, obviously trying to find a job, find what my career path was going to be. I feel like that's very important when starting out, your life journey post-college, wherever it may be, or if you didn't go to school, just your path in general. I think it's very vital to know what type of direction that you want to head in. It's going to take a while for you to figure out exactly what you want to do. But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the struggle. Wish I would have knew that a little earlier, because I feel like I struggled a little too much trying to figure that out. I feel like everything is a life lesson, you learn from your mistakes. So I'm just going to breeze through a couple of topics. This is the intro episode, so it's really just to get to know me, what the podcast is going to be about. When can you expect new episodes dropping? What type of topics will be discussed? 23 years old. I'm a business analyst in North Carolina. That's about as specific as I'm going to get. For obvious reasons. And I just started sports betting with Sleeper last year during the NBA playoffs. And the first day that I decided to make a Discord for my picks, because I watch a lot of basketball, grew up playing basketball, feel like I know a lot about the sport. My first time making the Discord, the very first day, all my picks swept. It was like a profit of about $600 or something crazy like that. The Discord had about 25 members in it. And I remember the Discord was going crazy that day, like, yo, I can't believe you swept all that. And so I started getting intrigued, saying like, okay, where can I take this? So I reached out to the people over at Sleeper. They got back to me in a swift manner, I think same day. And they said, listen, if you refer this many people in a certain amount of time, like, we'll really consider you being an ambassador for the app. And I was like, okay, cool. I had a pretty decent social media following. I'm not no influencer or nothing, but a couple thousand, that are active. So I post that type of stuff. Ended up getting to about 50 people kind of quick. So they said, okay, we'll send the contract over. We'll see what we can do. I said, what if I just drop one play a day on TikTok for 30 days straight? And so right now at the recording of this video, I'm on day 11. It's been going good so far. I think my highest view video has about 7,000 views. I knew it was not going to be nothing crazy in the beginning. But since starting to post on TikTok, I had 76 members in my Discord before I started posting on TikTok. I now, at the time of this recording of the video, have 194, I believe. So, that's over 100 members just off of minimal views. So the sky really is the limit. And this content creation stuff, I have family members who are in the content space. I have friends that are in the content space. Been doing it for years. So it is a learning curve in terms of trying to figure out the algorithm, when to post, what type of target audience you want to have. So it's a whole lot of different things that go into it. But I'm rambling, and that's what I like to do. That's why I have a podcast. What the podcast is actually going to be about, it's going to be in two sections. One section will be the sports and the sports betting. I have a larger audience that wants to know what I'm thinking about plays, what I'm thinking about different sports topics, how I feel about certain, rules or news and all that. So that will be one side of the podcast. And some of that stuff will be having guests on that I talk sports with a lot, just to get the debate aspect into it, or just discuss different topics. And the other side of it will be the introspective side of life in general, whether it's retired or no longer participating in collegiate sports or professional sports. that may have switched over into content creation, or someone who turned corporate and, didn't really like it or liked it. Some people that may have come from a different background that didn't get a chance to go to school but still ended up finding a way to make it. I feel like today, in this world, there's a fishbowl type of attention span for everything. That's why you see people get hot, you see people get cold, just like that. Lose all traction, lose all momentum in days, weeks, it doesn't matter. You gotta be consistent, and you have to still have engaging content. And I'm not no life coach or whatever, but I feel like that type of stuff is important to understand, because a lot of people are in denial that they can never fall off. That's just not the case at all. I'm gonna be answering some questions that you guys asked me over the past couple of months since I said I was going to launch the podcast. One of the most important ones that I read throughout that time was define your definition of success. A lot of people, when they think success, they think money. Money is an aspect of success for some people. Success to me means, okay, did you satisfy either your own need or someone that you love's need that you were doing it for? So a lot of people's motivation, is their mom or dad, parent, sibling, that they're trying to make it out and succeed in order to make them proud. Now, most of the time that does come with, monetary value. Doesn't always have to be the case. So success to me personally is, did you do enough to satisfy your own ambitions, or did you satisfy that motivation that you had to be successful? I went to Elon, and my senior year, I went through this real dark stage. I wouldn't necessarily call it depression. See, depression most times gets linked to, extreme sadness. I see a depression as in like things were up, things came crashing down, and there was no way to get out of it. I wasn't going to class, going out to bars, drinking heavily, no real sense of direction. At the time, I didn't feel like there was a way out of it. I kept telling myself, like, I'll snap out of that. But there was no action plan. I ended up walking the stage, graduating, but opened up my diploma case that day. There was no diploma in there. And I knew that, but I was afraid to tell my parents that, because I know they worked so hard to put me in a position to even go to college. I didn't grow up, in the best situation all my life. I didn't want to let my parents down. And so that pressure contributed to me not wanting to tell them anything when it came to how I was struggling my senior year of college. Once they found out that I officially didn't have my diploma, there was a weight on my back just knowing that I didn't complete that goal for my mom, A, and my grandmother, B, because they both wanted to see me get my diploma. It was a big deal to them. A bigger deal to them than it was to me. In my head, I had already completed college. I did all my classes. There was nothing else for me to do. I didn't understand how important it was to have that paper, that document that showed you completed this. It wasn't until this past summer where I woke up finally. And this is after having a year-long corporate job already. I was already a year in. I felt like I was already set. But this past summer, my whole outlook on that stuff changed. I spent a lot of money this past summer, made a lot of bad decisions, but I also learned a lot. And I feel like without having this past summer under my belt, I wouldn't be in the situation that I am today, which is a lot better mentally, physically, just knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is very important when it comes to achieving the goals that you want to achieve. I didn't really know what my path was going to look like. When I had my head cleared, it gave me a space to be able to set, realistic goals and unrealistic goals, because there's nothing wrong with having unrealistic goals either. I set those goals and had multiple action plans of how I was going to get it done. Once I put that in place, things just started falling into place. I was never like a big, system schedule type of guy, but I learned that was the way that I needed to do things. Once I figured that out, everything became easier. It's a lot easier to function out of structure than function out of chaos, because when you're functioning out of chaos, you may think that you're multitasking or you're built for constant changes around you. In reality, that's just your brain trying to overcompensate for all of that stuff that's going on around you. It's not really means it's the best situation that you need to be in. Once I did that, I started formatting how I was going to start this podcast up. There's a lot of people that claim to be life coaches. I don't have no knock to any of those people. They made a space and the spaces grew. In some cases, you make a lot of money and you get a big following from it. But this podcast is a show the realness of the corporate world, the gambling world, the addiction world, because I feel like I've lived all that at 23 already, which is crazy. Being so young to go through different types of lifestyles and ups and downs. I feel like somebody out here has probably experienced or is going through something that I may touch on in one of these episodes that may help them, and then they may help somebody else down the line as well. The main point of this podcast is to help people, to inform people, to name the pros and cons, different categories that you may be interested in as an incoming freshman in college, someone who didn't go to college, someone who finished college. There's something for everybody, I think, in here, and I think the guests that I bring on here will help incorporate that philosophy that I'm trying to instill with this podcast. I hope this was a decent introduction. Quality gets better as time goes on. Everything will get better as time goes on. This is The Inside Game. I cannot wait till the first full-length episode. I think you guys will be excited, man. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lot of laughs, too. Don't get that twisted. It's a serious podcast, but don't think there's not going to be laughs. There's going to be laughs. My personality allows laughs. It will be laughter. I can't wait, and thank you for everybody that's supported so far. Thank you to everybody from birth to now. You know, these stories shape who I am today. I'm grateful for all that. I just can't wait to get things started, man. I'll see you guys episode 2. Peace.
Like it's the middle of the week, I'm trying to get over the hump. You know I had to link up with two. He told me that I was the one. Don't slip, look, you better not play by the pool. They told me that when I was young. Don't trip, young, just keep on doing what you do, and you'll get the house with the pay. I'm banging the